For the past couple of seasons, Auburn's defense has been among the best in college football, thanks in large part to these two guys, Derrick Brown and Noah Igbinoghene. So it wasn't a total shock to hear both of their names called in the first round of the NFL draft, especially the former Tigers defensive lineman. The Carolina Panthers jumped on the opportunity to get Derrick Brown at 7th overall, and the expectations for his pro career are as big as he is. Brown's prospect grade puts him in the Pro Bowl someday, and you know the former SEC Defensive Player of the Year will be chomping at the bit to get to work for Panthers' newly hired head coach, Matt Rhule. Derrick Brown's talent was exactly what Carolina needed. The Panthers ranked among the worst defensive teams in the NFL in 2019, giving up nearly 375 yards per game, good enough for last in the division. But it won't be an overnight fix in Carolina. However, Derrick Brown will surely get things going in the right direction. Meanwhile, Auburn defensive back Noah Igbinoghene is headed to South Beach. The former Hewitt-Trussville High School star was selected in the first round, 30th overall by Miami. And what makes Igbinoghene so special is his pure athleticism. He proved that at the Combine when he ran a 4.48 40-yard dash to go along with a 37-inch vertical. On tape, he's a skilled corner with a high ceiling, but there is definitely some room to grow. Igbinoghene has only been in the secondary for 2 years, so he's still settling into the position. But again, like Carolina and Derrick Brown, Miami needed a difference maker on defense, and Noah Igbinoghene is just that. The Dolphins gave up almost 400 yards a game a season ago. With Igbinoghene on defense and Tua on the other side of the ball, the expectations are high for the rebuild in South Beach. All right, guys, it seems like the last couple of seasons, there have been times where Auburn fans have been frustrated with the Tigers' offense not really playing up to par and matching what the defensive output has been when it comes to talent, maybe sometimes effort, and just how good this Auburn defense have been. And a lot of that has been because of two guys. Obviously, Derrick Brown, big guy up front. Noah Igbinoghene in the secondary as well. I know he's new to the position, but he's really developed well on the plains for Auburn there. But when you look at Derrick Brown, he was a top 10 pick projected. He went 7th overall to the Carolina Panthers. I don't think anyone was surprised by this, and I think we can all agree that what he can potentially do at the next level is unlimited.
Yeah, he's a game wrecker. He's so good in both aspects of playing defensive line, which is against the run and against the pass. I think of a guy like Aaron Donald, who looks a little bit different. He's a little slimmer, but he plays on the interior like that, and he just blows up plays. He commands double teams, maybe even a triple team. There are times where you watch Derrick Brown, and it's like, how many times does a defensive lineman jump off the screen unless he's sacking the quarterback? And that happens so many times with Derrick Brown, where it's like, how is it possible that he impacts the game so much from basically he's playing as like a 1 or a 2 tech or a 3 tech right over the center sometimes. So he's so good. I think he's the best defensive player in the draft, even better than Chase Young. I'm going to say it. He's just going to be more impactful in my opinion, because when you're playing there and you can be so good against the run and the pass and affect every play from the middle, I think that's the most important thing. So I'd take him.
I'll tell you this, as a Panthers fan, I was so happy they made this pick. I think all I keep thinking about with Derrick Brown is the Florida game this year. Now, Auburn lost that game, but Derrick Brown he was the one that had the 2 fumble recoveries, right? And then tripped on one of them when he was running to the end zone.
According to Marlon Davidson.
What'd you say?
Marlon Davidson said it was because he's fat. He didn't say
Well, he has some meat on the bones, but that's what you need playing that interior lineman position. But as a Panthers fan, I'm so excited. And an interesting story about this is Matt Rhule, the Panthers' new head coach, wanted to trade out of that pick. And the general manager, Matt Hurney, said, no, this is our guy. We're taking him. So it's obvious that the franchise as a whole thought that Derrick Brown's going to be a star in this league. I think he could be a Pro Bowler in the next year or two. And honestly, I mean, I hate to say it, this Panthers team is going to need him, because you can't give the ball to Christian McCaffrey 50 times a game. I mean, the guy is literally going to break down if you do that. I don't know yet about how I feel about Teddy Bridgewater, but, I mean, this defense has lost so much over the last few years. Luke Kuechly retired because of concussions. They let go of Thomas Davis, who was a fan favorite. He went to the Chargers. You know, they still have K'Wan Short up front, who's coming off an injury. He was a Pro Bowler before he got hurt last year. So they have talent there. This is just such a great pick for them. And I feel like he fell into their lap, and I feel like he's going to be, if he's not a Pro Bowler, he's going to be a 10-year starter.
Yeah. The thing I like about Derrick Brown is that he's a huge difference maker. He's super athletic, even for being as big as he is. But where he really gets it is up here. This guy is so cerebral and works so ridiculously hard, and it always has eye on the prize. Like, I mean, I remember just seeing him in communication, like, away from football, and he's just always, like, determined. Like, okay, I got to go to this next meet, and I got to do this. He's not really one for small talk. Like, he just wants his game to show what he is all about, and he's done that year after year at Auburn. I think he'll continue to do it.
He's absurdly mature. I mean,
Yes.
it makes me feel like a moron. Whenever I talk to that guy, it's like, how are you? You seem so much older than me when you're really not. Like, Derrick Brown and I are pretty much the same age. I think his nickname.
He's a grown man.
Yeah, I think his
Making
nickname
me feel old.
Baby Barack.
Yeah.
His nickname was Baby Barack at Auburn. And Joe, I think you make a great point there. You lose spiritual leaders like Kuechly and Davis. Also, Charles Johnson, who Derrick Brown's number is going to be number 95. He left a couple of years ago. There's a huge void on that defense in terms of raw talent, but also leadership. Brown is the perfect guy to fill that. That's another reason why I think he's the best defensive player in the draft. Like, Chase Young seems like a good dude, but I've never seen the same type of, aptitude for leadership as I've seen from Derrick Brown. I think he's going to walk in there and immediately be the leader of that defense, which they really need right now.
Chase Young reminds me a lot of the Jadeveon Clowney pick. You got a guy that makes big hits, he's a highlight reel. Yeah. But are you really going to be able to depend on him for 50 plays a game? I mean, I think you can do that with Derrick Brown. Chase Young I think he's going to be fantastic, but I agree with you. I think Derrick Brown could end up being the best in the class.
Yeah, and I don't want to turn it into a Young versus Brown debate, but bottom line here is Carolina needed defense. I mean, Joe, you know this. And their offense, whether you like Bridgewater or not, with Rule and Brady, they should put up a lot of points. I mean, that's going to be a high-flying offense, but the defense was so bad last year. So bad. And crazy to think about for Carolina, team that was really good for a while, built mostly on defense. Mm-hmm. And now they're awful. But if Derrick Brown can help them kind of shore that side of the ball up, they might be competing for a playoff spot pretty soon.
Speaking of needing defense, Miami needed defense. And they obviously needed offense as well. That's why they went with Tua early on. But then later in the first round, they had multiple picks. With the 30th overall pick, they took Auburn defensive back Noah Igbinoghene, who we covered in high school at Hewitt-Trussville. Ridiculously athletic. Like, this guy is literally a walking statue. His parents were unbelievable athletes, so no shock there. He ran a 4.48 40, which is super fast, had a 37-inch vertical at the combine. But there is room to grow, I think everyone would agree, at that position, Joey. He is a hard-hitting guy, but I feel like he needs to figure some things out on the finesse side of it when it comes to being a corner.
Well, you got to remember that the Dolphins got this pick by trading Laramie Tunsil, who was the 13th overall pick, I think, in 2016. He was the guy that famously, there was a Twitter video of him smoking out of the bong, or he had a mask on, the mask. Yeah. And they drafted him anyways, and he made a Pro Bowl last year. He was traded to the Texans, I think. So you got to remember, you traded a Pro Bowler and a young talent for essentially Noah Igbinoghene, who is very athletic but very raw. I think it came as a surprise to a lot of people that he was taken there, not from a talent level, but from a skills level. Playing cornerback in this league is not it's a very skilled position, and it's going to take him some time to grow in there. And what this tells me is that the Dolphins are willing to play the long plan with this team. They're willing the long play. That's what I meant to say. They're really willing to wait it out, and that's why I think like we were talking about Tua earlier. I don't know which way they're going to go, but maybe they'll let him sit. But Noah could be a Pro Bowler one day, but he's going to need a lot of work in the beginning. So, Drew, what do you think?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Joey. It's just like we talked about with Tua. It's the long game with Miami. And you look at the roster, and that kind of reinforces what we're talking about. Xavier Howard he's probably the best player on the roster right now for the Dolphins. He's their number one cornerback. Contract situation kind of up in the air for the future, but he's going to be there this year. Go out, you spend a ton of money on Byron Jones from Dallas, who's going to play opposite Howard. quarterback on a really bad, depleted roster was probably their best position before the draft. And they go out and they still spend a first-round pick on a guy like Noah Igbinoghene, but I like it because I'm all about best player available. And it was always kind of confusing why Igbinoghene wasn't in that first tier of corners. You had Okudah from Ohio State. We know he's going to be top 5, whatever. Henderson from Florida, probably in a tier of his own. But then after that, you had Johnson from Utah. You had Gladney from TCU, who the Vikings end up drafting. I'm thinking Igbinoghene is more athletic than these guys. I don't think he's as raw. As kind of same thing as Ruggs. It's like just because he's fast doesn't mean he's not polished at all. And another thing with Igbinoghene is even if he plays nickel corner and he's not on the field every play, he's going to return every kick and every punt for them, I would assume. You saw in person, Simone, he returned that one against Auburn at the Outback Bowl like 100 yards. The dude is so fast and so athletic. I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he's so, like you said, so athletic. When he returned that ball in Tampa, is that where we were, Tampa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. I mean, it was like he just turned on another gear. I mean, I think that guy's faster with the ball than he is without the ball, like, just running in the combine. So I think a great pick. Obviously, he got paid, which is cool. We see any of our local high school guys go in the first round, I think is pretty neat. So good stuff from 2 Auburn guys going to the next level.